Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. My name is Craig DeLuz, and I'll be coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Throat Punch Thursday.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
It's Throat Punch Thursday, bitch.
You know, there's just something that's just, you can't see someone get punched in the throat often enough. I don't know what it is. At least I get to see it once a week. It depends on how many times I've gone to my Krav Maga workout that week. I may get to see it more, but okay. Truth be told, we really don't punch each other in the throat during our workouts. At least not without a little bit of throat protection. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for tuning in today. It is Throat Punch Thursday, where obviously we're going to be punching the left in the throat. And while we do it, all 5 days of the week, today we just want to bring special notice to the fact that that's exactly what's happening here. So anyway, enjoy. I hope you all enjoy. Unfortunately, Mike is not going to be with us today. Mike is at a friend's son's graduation, one of the fellow members of Arms Room Radio. So unfortunately, they're not going to be able to be here. He's not going to be here today. But guess what? You're here. I'm here. The comment section is here. I'm going to be looking out to see what you folks have to say about what I have to say, I guess, or at least about the news, and then what I have to say about it. So do me a favor, if you're watching us live, that's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, if you're watching us on Rumble, if you're watching us on OpsLens, however you're watching us, just know that I'm looking for the comments. If you got something to say and we like what you have to say, I find it to be interesting. Even if I don't like what you say, but I find it interesting, we'll share it with the audience and see what they have to say about what you have to say. So I guess we're all commenting on everyone's comments. Anyway, but we're going to have a good time nonetheless. But before we get into it, you know what we got to do. We got to pay them bills. Got to reach out and let y'all know about those sponsors. We're going to go ahead and start off by talking about Hitman Industries. That's Hitman Industries. You'll find them at hitmanindustries.net. They have rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you today. If you've recently purchased an AR, chances are you already have one of their barrels, and I'm sure that you love it. So why not get more? Anyway, check them out today. If you are a first responder and you've never purchased from them before, you also will get a discount. So check them out at hitmanindustries.net. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives behind enemy lines, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Check them out today at cragop.org. At cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. And then we've got Hog Holsters. You'll find them at hogholsters.com, the best in concealed carry and tactical holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, and you can use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, just like it is right up there, and get yourself a discount today. Check them out. And then finally, if you're looking for outdoor gear, whatever it is, it's cold weather, hot weather, you're looking for wet weather, no matter what, trust me, they have everything you need. They have all things tactical except for the gun at uscombatgear.com. That's uscombatgear.com. Veteran owned and operated, fast shipping, excellent selection, great prices. Check them out today. Once again, uscombatgear.com. All right, let's get into today's stories, and we're going to start off with the first story, and that, my friends, is not it. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and get into the first story of the day. And the first story of the day has to do with our good friend, Mr. Donald Trump. It has to do with the documents case that's taking place there in Florida. And it has to do, in part, with the, our good friend, Mr. Jack Smith, or the DOJ, our good friend Joe Biden. It has to do with deadly use of force being authorized in the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Now, Donald Trump, well, so let's put it this way. So recently there were some documents that were released, and Donald Trump decided that he was going to kind of make it known, because included in the documents was some information basically noting that use of force was authorized. And when I say use of force, I mean deadly use of force was authorized against a former president of the United States. And here's the story right here. And this is as it's being reported by Fox News. It says the FBI said it followed standard protocol in the August 2022 raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago, Florida estate. The Biden administration authorized the use of deadly force during the FBI's raid on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida on August of 2022 as a part of its investigation into classified records, court documents revealed. The jarring language accompanied the unprecedented raid drew harsh responses from the Trump campaign, but Fox News learned that the same language also accompanied with a search warrants for President Biden's home, Delaware home. Both searches were for classified documents. Quote, the FBI followed standard protocol in this search as we do for all search warrants, which includes a standard policy statement limiting the use of deadly force. No one ordered additional steps to be taken, and there was no departure from the norm in this matter, the FBI told Fox News in a statement. The standard deadly force policy statement included in the operations order for the search of former president's residence was also included in the operations order for the search of the sitting president's residence in Delaware, as is standard practice for FBI operations orders. All right. So I believe them when they say that it's standard operating procedure, but, I mean, okay, so let's just be real. Number one, whether it is a current president or a former president, if you are raiding their home, all right, let's be clear. In the case of the Biden administration, they knew they were coming. In the case of the Trump, it literally was a middle-of-the-night raid. And yes, the officers who showed up were armed. All right? I don't know if the officers were armed that showed up to Biden's place, but I do know that when you decided that you were going to, I don't know, call the media and have the media there when you called on Donald Trump, when you raided Donald Trump's place, my key is at that point you recognize that this is not a standard event, right? This is not something that you normally do. This is unprecedented. And as it is unprecedented, and the fact that you are going in to a former president's house, one would think, especially since you know he's protected by Secret Service, had he been there, but well, now once again, we also know for a fact that he was not there. Also know that they have reported that they knew he was not going to be there. That having been said, you would think that they would have said, we're not going to quote unquote authorize the use of deadly force. We would have had some sort of, why would you use a boilerplate a boilerplate statement when you're doing something that is unprecedented? One would think that the DOJ would have crossed the I's and dotted the T's, that they would have made it a point to make sure that we're not doing anything even remotely hinky. Right? Now, what was really made big out of this was Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Marjorie Taylor Greene basically put out a tweet saying, see, this was an attempt by the Biden administration and the Garland DOJ to attempt to assassinate President Trump. Now, I will admit that when Donald Trump sent out his statement, it was done to sensationalize it, but he didn't misstate anything, or he may have embellished, which Donald Trump does. But I agree with him. Authorizing the use of deadly force against a former president, that's pretty extreme. Now, that having been said, that does not mean that they weren't there with the intent of killing him, of assassinating him. That is just idiotic. That was an idiotic thing for Marjorie Taylor Greene to put out there. And I think it's something that ought to be addressed, that should be addressed. But I think that is beyond the pale for her to put something like that out. But it does show, at the very minimum, a significant level of disrespect and animus towards the former president. And I think, once again, for their thing to say, well, this is standard operating procedure. Well, once again, you were raiding, there's nothing standard about it. That language should not, and I think we all can agree, should have had absolutely positively no place in that particular statement. It had no place being there. Period. Anyway, maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Why don't you let me know in the comments? Maybe you think, yeah, well, it's no big deal. Or maybe you think they were trying to assassinate him. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear your theory behind it. Because keep in mind, the Secret Service did let them know that the president was not going to be there. At least they did have information from the Secret Service that he was not going to be present, which then again, once again, raises questions. So then why did you send in armed agents? Why did you have a news crew there? But, you know, I don't know. I think the whole idea of this whole thing is to embarrass the former president and hopefully get him to not run for president. But what they failed to realize was that it actually helped him. It has been like, what as Mike likes to say, it's been like throwing cans of spinach at Popeye. And Popeye's eating it up, and he's just getting stronger. All right, moving on. State sponsor of terrorism tours a U.S. airport TSA. That's right. The Biden administration, once again, is doing everything they can to make sure that we Americans are not safe. This was the case. This is being reported by Breitbart News. It says Biden administration allows state sponsor of terrorism, Cuba, to tour Miami Airport TSA. 5 officials from Cuba's communist regime, a U.S. designated state sponsor of terrorism, conducted a secret guided tour of Miami's International Airport on Monday, hosted by the Transportation Security Authority. The secret tour, which reportedly lasted approximately 5 hours, is part of alleged law enforcement cooperation, end quote, between both countries, and saw Castro regime officials visit the TSA's control facilities in Miami's airport, which contain some of the agency's sensitive computer systems. Now, I want you to think about that. The whole thing behind this is, if they are a state sponsor of terrorism, that means mainly that they finance terrorism. It doesn't mean that they necessarily conduct it themselves, although I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying it says that they at the very least sponsor it. They pay for it. But how do we know what information they were able to provide based on this behind the scenes tour of TSA? How do we know that they weren't able to glean some information that they can then pass along with their money to would-be terrorists? And you can't say that there are no terrorists or that we don't know that there are any terrorists. Let's be real. We've let about 10 million people into the country through our southern border, and most of them, overwhelming majority of them, we have no idea who they are. And they're coming from countries all over the world, including Cuba, including Afghanistan, including Iran, including Iraq. They're coming across, and China. Oh, did I forget China? Let me not forget China and Russia. They're coming from all over the world, and they are walking across our southern border. And then on top of it, there was a guy, I was listening to a report this morning. He goes through, he's around the border area, and he goes around and he collects up all the documentation and whatnot that the people, that the undocumented folks leave there so that they can enter into the country. And he's found tons of passports, driver's licenses, photo identification of mostly military-aged males from countries all over the world. So that then what they're doing is they're getting rid of this documentation so that they can then come into the U.S., claim to be someone else, lie about who they are, and then just be processed and released into the United States. And now we know that a state sponsor of terrorism has now had but once again, behind-the-scenes tour of one of the most sensitive areas, if it isn't, it should be one of the most sensitive areas that are part of our transportation. Because here's the thing. I don't know a lot about TSA. I wish Mike were here because he knows a lot more about military and security and airport security and stuff like that than I do. But I got to think that in particular when it comes to things like their computer systems, that what they're using in Miami isn't too far off from what they're using in other places, at other airports. I got to think that they were able to glean, or might have been able to glean, some valuable information that they could then use as a part of a scheme somewhere else. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying that you can't lie. You cannot doubt. There is no doubt that the possibility exists. And it exists because Biden made it possible. Folks, it is amazing. I don't know, and I cannot think of a time as an American in my entire life where I have felt less safe, either here or abroad. Here because, well, number one, the way in which the Democratic Party, including the Biden administration, has the way in which they have removed all consequences for the commission of crime and basically told criminals, you are the real victims. Therefore, we will not hold you accountable for your actions. And the corresponding spike in crime that has been caused, once again, makes me feel less safe here domestically. The number of people entering through our southern border who we have no idea who most of them are. If 1% of them, if just 1% of them are here to cause harm, that's over 100,000 people here to cause harm. That doesn't make me feel safe. That does not make me feel safe, and it shouldn't make you feel safe. And then abroad, well, let's just be real. Other countries see our president and they're like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, he strikes fear in absolutely no one. Absolutely no one takes him seriously. No one does. As well they shouldn't. I don't. You shouldn't. He is, sadly, he is, well, let's just say past his prime. We'll just leave it at that. So there's never been a more unsafe, and once again, policy after policy implemented by this administration has just demonstrated his lack of ability, once again, to keep us safe. Or I don't know if it's ability or willingness, but it's pretty darn bad. Anyway, let's get on to our next story. Oh, Fauci advisor. Oh, you guys are going to love this one. So, once again, going back to the administration. So we kind of knew that Fauci was involved in gain of function. We knew that Fauci did everything he could to try and cover up their involvement in gain of function research, and what we knew and when we knew it when it came to COVID. But what we didn't know was the level to which they were attempting to cover it up. Well, now we kind of know the level to which they were willing to cover it up. It says here, ex-Fauci top advisor offers apologies and excuses after COVID email revelations. Let's read this real quick. It says, hours after the release of several seemingly damning emails revealing his provocative COVID-era communications, the former top advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci offered excuses and apologies, but few real answers during a contentious congressional showdown. Dr. David Morens, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases senior advisor, appeared before the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability on Wednesday afternoon with few insights about the alarming messages, but a host of apologies to lawmakers. The newly released emails detail interactions between Morens and Dr. Peter Daszak, president of EcoHealth Alliance, a non-governmental organization that funded coronavirus research in Wuhan, China. Quote, it's just something I'm very ashamed that I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, Morens said of the email's language, much of which he attributed to just black humor. Okay, I don't know what that means. Anyway, Republican lawmakers accuse Morin of deleting emails and using his personal email account to skirt Freedom of Information Act requests. So if you look here, it says here, and if you read some of this language, it says here, and it's highlighted, we are all smart enough to know to never have smoking guns. If we did, we wouldn't put them in emails, and if we found them, we'd delete them. Now, what that's telling you folks is that's what they did. That they used their own personal emails, that they skirted Freedom of Information. So when you, just for those of you who don't know, when someone puts in a Freedom of Information Act request, they ask for all of your government emails, yada, yada, yada. Well, oftentimes, if people want to talk about something, but they don't want people to be able to get access to it, they'll use their personal email. Or they'll use they'll create a special email just for that, and not tell anybody about it. Let's see, who else did that? Oh, right. The President of the United States did exactly that, in his dealings as the big guy. Anyway, so basically what he's saying here is he's basically admitting that he got caught hiding emails, right? It's basically what you have going on here. And what are they hiding in the emails? Number one was all of their interactions when it came to Eco Health Alliance, when it came to the funding of gain of function research, when it came to them collaborating together to shut down any conversation of a potential lab leak and to push the idea of the wet market, of the people eating bats at the wet market. Which is hilarious to me because it's like anyone who said that, look, it came from a lab leak in China, that wasn't racist. I mean, that was racist. But if you said that it came from a wet market where people were eating bats in a wet market, barbecued bats at a wet market, that was in China, down the street from the Wuhan lab. That wasn't racist. No? What do you guys think? Which do you think is more racist? Let me know. Tell me in the comments. What do you think is more racist? Do you think it's more racist to say, do you think it's more racist to accuse it from coming from Chinese people eating uncooked bats? Or that maybe it got out of a lab leak, that leaked out of a lab that has a history, by the way, of leaks? Come on, which one do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. I know which way I think. It seems kind of obvious to me, which is less racist. I don't know. I just maybe think for yourself. Which would you rather have? Think of your particular group, right? Where people could accuse you of being racist. And think, I would rather be seen that my people eat uncooked bats at a barbecue spot, or that maybe, there was a lab that was in my country of origin that maybe had a lab leak. Which do you think is more racist? Anyway. All right, this last one. Now, Democrats are always trying to increase voter turnout. When I say increase voter turnout, they're always trying to grow their ranks. And they're realizing now that, they're losing. They're losing a lot of folks. The young people have said that they're not voting for Joe Biden. Black people in larger numbers than ever have decided that they are not going to be voting for Joe Biden or Democrats. They're losing Latino voters, people who voted in the past. So the only thing that they have to lean on is, non-citizen voters. Well, that's exactly what is happening in Washington, D.C. A majority of House Dems vote to allow non-citizen voting in D.C. It says here, the House of Representatives advanced a bill Thursday to repeal a Washington, D.C. law that allows non-citizens to vote in local elections. A whopping 52 Democrats joined Republicans on the measure, with 143 Democrats voting against it, for a final vote of 262 to 143 vote. The D.C. law was passed by the Progressive City Council in 2022 and recently survived a court challenge earlier this year. Republicans who opposed the bill warned that allowing non-Americans to help decide what local officials run the nation's capital could have negative effects on national security. I don't know about the effects on national security, but I've always said being a citizen has to mean something. It's got to mean something. If there are no benefits to being a citizen, if residents, people who are mere residents here, visitors here, have the same exact benefits, then there's no benefit to being a citizen. If illegal visitors, people who have either entered into our country illegally or entered our country legally and have overstayed their visa or stayed longer than they're supposed to, if they are allowed the benefits of citizenship, then citizenship means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. There's nothing to cherish if everyone has the benefits of it. So, therefore, membership should have its privileges. You want the benefit, you want to be able to vote? Become a citizen. Period. Do it the right way. Come into the country the right way. Do it the legal way. Then you get all the benefits thereof. I'll be cool with that. But see, Democrats don't care because Democrats don't, all they care about is more power, and they believe that because they believe they believe that new people coming into the country are going to be gullible and are going to fall for whatever they tell them. They believe that they can lie to them, and they'll continue to vote Democrat. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the idea. Anyway, I'm just hoping that people wake up to reality. The people of the blue states of blue America. I'm not just sitting here trying to tell you that Republicans have everything right. What I am here to tell you is that Democrats have just about everything wrong. At least when it comes to the policies that they seek to implement. I won't necessarily say that the problems that they seek to fix are all wrong. I think there are some things that they see as issues and concerns that are in fact issues and concerns, things that we ought to address. I just believe that every single one of their solutions is full of puppycock. Anyway, moving right along, we are now at the point where we do our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get your hog holster today. All right, our first one up comes up here. Now, we talked the other day about the, we talked the other day about the scandal, the flag scandal, by the, relating to Justice Alito. For those of you who didn't tune in, his wife had a spat with a neighbor who had a 50-foot sign that said, F Donald Trump, right next to a bus stop where kids go to school. And his wife, Alito's wife, said something, and the person cussed her out and called her all sorts of names, including the C word. And seeing as how clearly political and community civility had gone awry because of politics, she decided to, for a period of time, I believe it was probably about an hour or so, fly their American flag upside down. Well, people got offended. By the way, that's the national sign for distress, or the international sign for distress. That's how you tell people that you're under distress. Quite frankly, that's probably exactly what she was trying to communicate. In any case, there are now people in Congress who want Alito to decide that he will recuse himself from any involvement in any of the January 6th cases that may come to him, or even the president's, because, white nationalists have used that signal, right? They've also used this signal, right? The OK sign, because, I'm a white nationalist, apparently. Anyway, all that having been said, one of the members of Congress decided that they were going to, they had a serious question about the Supreme Court justice. And you know who it is? We all know her as Alex the bartender, otherwise known as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC demands to know where Alito bought an upside-down U.S. flag, because that's how bright she is. Now, this is not the only part of the scandal for which the young lady, that took place relating to, Miss Justice Alito. There were two other issues that came up. One of them had to do with the fact that at one of his vacation homes in Delaware, he had also had a flag with the I think a palm tree on it, and it anyway, the palm tree or the quotation on the flag basically referred to, and I'm forgetting exactly what it said, but it basically was, look to heavens for the answer. And they said, nope, that's also a white nationalist, and so therefore he must recuse himself. And then finally, the most damning evidence that Alito could not be trusted to be what's the word I'm looking for, to be objective in these cases. Democrats released damning photo of Justice Alito reading the Constitution. Now, President Biden was asked about this during a stint with the press, or a question and answer period with the press, and what do you know? What luck? Biden finds pre-written answer to a completely spontaneous press question right on his note card. I wonder how that happened. That's right. For those of you who do not know, all of those were parodies, or shall we say satire, brought to you by the Babylon Bee. Fake news you can count on. That's their new line. I love it. I'm telling you right now, if you have not subscribed to the Babylon Bee, please go do so. I get it. I almost never read the articles. I just read the headlines. And the reason why I bought a subscription was for this reason. I bought it because I want them to keep doing it. I want them to keep it. It entertains me so much just reading the headlines. I know I could read them for free, but I subscribe just because I want them to continue doing it. They make me laugh. Their satire is phenomenal. So go ahead and do that. They are not a sponsor of the show. I wish I could get them as a sponsor of the show. They are not a sponsor of the show, but they're definitely worth supporting. All right, we've reached the end of today's show, except one last thing. Got to make sure to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We'll start with Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol length barrels, available for you today at hitmanindustries.net. We've got the California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. And remember to go to Hog Holsters. You'll find them at hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your hog holster today. And then finally, if you're looking for tactical gear, you can find all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We're going to be back tomorrow, and tomorrow will be Free for All Friday. We appreciate you once again. Y'all take care. Y'all have fun. And, feel free to drop us some messages. Even if you're listening to this after the fact, give us some comments. Let us know what you think of the show. Some things that we could do better. Some things that we could do worse. Who knows? But we're always looking to try and make this show better for you because we enjoy doing it, but we also enjoy that you enjoy it. So y'all take care. Holla at you later.